What's up, y'all? Now I'm going to show you how to edit your high quality images to get the best result in your sports designs. So I've brought this graphic into Photoshop. You always want to make sure that your photos are smart objects, because you can edit smart objects and go back and take away things you've done to those smart objects, whereas you can't do that with like a rasterized layer, which is what this is. So if it doesn't have this little white sheet beside it, make sure it does by converting to a smart object. So now that we have that done, we'll go up here to filter, camera raw. This is how you should always edit your photos. And we're just going to tweak things around a little bit. So we'll mess with the exposure. We're basically just going to brighten him up a bit to the point where we like it. Try and find a medium ground on everything, because we will re-edit him later in the whole graphic. So right now we don't want like any of these lighting things too extreme, because if you do extreme editing later, you're gonna have extreme editing on extreme editing and it's gonna look terrible. So for shadows, I like to raise them a little bit because that pulls details out, which later they might go back away, but we want the detail to work with in the beginning. So in his beard here, you can see it the best. If you raise the shadows up a little bit, you know, you just get more details. I don't really mess too much with whites and blacks because they're just kind of extreme. Sometimes I tweak them a little bit, but you don't want to tweak them too much. I'm gonna leave all these. Maybe I'll bump the saturation up a little, but not much. You don't want to boost the saturation too much in this edit, because usually it's right, unless you can just tell the photo is like intentionally undersaturated. But here it's pretty good. So these two are the ones that everyone goes crazy with. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna push both of those up to 3000 and call it a day. No, this looks awful. So we don't want to do that. What you want to do is just slide it back and forth a little bit. See like what looks good. So we want that detail, but we don't want to go too far with it. So, and it depends on every photo. The higher quality the photo is, the more you can like pull out that detail. This one's high quality, but it's not super high quality. So we're gonna pull it up to like 50-ish. Then clarity could go either way. Sometimes I'll take the clarity down because it just looks better. You really don't want to mess up the clarity. This is not a look that you want. I know some people like this, but just looks awful. So sometimes I'll put it down this way. I think it just balances out everything a little more. Yeah, I'll put it up to 9. So that's not much at all. Don't mess up the clarity. The last thing you can mess with is sharpening and noise reduction. I usually don't do too much of that in this editing process, but I'll bump that up a little bit. I'll help noise reduction a little bit. And sometimes I'll move the color noise reduction up a little bit. So that is that. We have a dark image to begin with. It's not a lot of detail. And then you bump it up. And it just gives you a good starting ground so that once you're actually editing your graphic, editing the lighting, the shadows, whatever, you can really manipulate that really well. That's what you want, a starting point that lets you kind of blend the whole graphic together with the same lighting, shadows, etc. Check out this next video to see how I blend those images with the background and use lighting and shadows to make that happen.